Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so the Lakers got some things to talk about right now. Once again, we made a Laker video this morning, and a lot has changed since that video was made. Bamba, he's going to be out for about 4 weeks with his ankle sprain, which is something that I was very, very fearful of. But when I saw him get up and then try to run on that thing after rolling it, and as bad as he looked when he did that, I was worried that this was going to be something. See, Bamba is a player who's had injury issues his whole career. It's one of the reasons why he hasn't developed properly. He goes down with injuries, and then he comes back slow into their rotation. When I say there, I mean Orlando. And we've talked about it a million times, but they had so many 7-footers, so many big 6'10 guys, 250 guys, to where it just became kind of redundant to play him because the fact that he was not better than most of those guys. They could do other things that he can't do. Some of them were taller than him. You know, it just didn't make any sense. When you look at like Bol, it's like 2 feet taller than him, dribbling the ball through his legs and spinning and all that stuff. It just doesn't make any sense. It made Bamba's role redundant, especially with him fighting back from injury to enter their lineup. It just didn't make any sense. The problem is he's in a better space, but he still has the same problems. He can't necessarily get on the court and stay on the court. And so with him playing for a contract right now, this is just devastating for him because he needs to be on the floor. He's needed on the floor. Unfortunately enough, he wasn't being used. And I don't think Mo Bamba's played a total of 40 minutes for the Lakers, dude. I really don't. This is one of those situations where him being out is more or less like D'Angelo being out. You hypothetically miss what he has, but realistically, you won't realize any loss because you never used him in the first place. But you will understand that your depth is messed up when you need to turn to a center and you don't have one. That's the problem. He made us damn near impossible because of the length that we could put on the floor when we sit down Anthony Davis and Vanderbilt. You would still, in theory, be able to have a player like that disrupt everything. And in my opinion, he's going to be needed to guard certain players on second units that will obviously be coming in for other players who will be just as tall. When we had to go up against Rudy Gobert, we didn't use him properly, but he gave us the best opportunity to deflect and handle Rudy's actions. Why? Because he's a real center with longer arms than Rudy Gobert. And unlike Anthony Davis, Mo Bamba is a center that you can slot in at the 5 and consider him a real 5 without having any questions about such. Anthony Davis, at times, you don't want him playing the center. You just force yourself to play him the center just about, because he's tall, he has long arms and stuff, and you don't have another center that you would rather put in there on this roster. So this makes you play Anthony Davis center more. And we were doing it anyway. So that is what it is. We're not going to realize any real loss until it's time to sub in Mo Bamba and you don't have him, which was rare, but shouldn't have been. It is what it is, man. That's exactly what it is. So I hope that we'll have him back for the playoffs. I hope that when he heals from his injury, he can come back and just slip to the back of the bench in the playoffs, and we can use him as we planned on using him, however that was going to go. Continuity for a backup center essentially is how we were using him is not important. He'll just come back in and sit back of the bench like he was before, and when we need to sub him in, we'll sub him in, and hopefully he'll be available to us. So I'm not worried. I would have been worried if we were using him properly, but since we weren't using him properly in the first place, it's a curse that turns into a blessing because now you don't miss him. So I'm hopeful that he comes back healthy. Prayers out to him in his recovery. I'm happy he's a part of our team. I just know that you can't count on his health just like you can't count on several guys' health on this team. It is what it is. D'Lo's another one who's coming back. Obviously, he's been out for 6-7 games, something like that, with his ankle injury as well. And he's finally going to be back against the Toronto Raptors tomorrow. It has been listed as in. He's playing active, rather, and he will be starting. I'm fine with that. Obviously, you want him to be your starting point guard. But what I wonder about is if we're making a mistake inserting him back into the starting lineup cold turkey. Are we making a mistake doing that because we have such great continuity with the guards that we've been using? Doesn't it make sense for the first couple games to let D'Lo kind of find his rhythm, dribble a little bit, not be whatever kind of defensive liability is possible with him coming back from injury in the first couple minutes of the game, so we don't get off to a slow start against a highly motivated Toronto team who's got bulletin board material after the way the game went yesterday against the Clippers. Fred VanVleet said a bunch of things. I'm pretty sure he's going to have a lot of things to show against us in the same building against a different team. So I just understand that the Los Angeles Lakers are running into a team tomorrow who's not their record. Just like we're not our record, Toronto, by way of their circumstances, battling against the Chicago Bulls. A Chicago Bulls team who just blew out the Nuggets. They got hard work to accomplish in order to make the playoffs just like us. They're in the play-in tournament at the 9th spot or something like that, just like us. And we need to understand that they're going to be fighting for their playoff lives just like us. So it's important that the Los Angeles Lakers do not take this game lightly because it's an Eastern Conference team that's sub playoffs, I guess you could say. This is not, a contender or something like that you would say. But they do have pieces that they've added since the trade deadline that I honestly think make them better than what they were before they made the trade. A guy by the name of Jakob Poeltl is now on the roster. Definite upgrade from their center position. And he's playing a lot of defense. That's what it was. Against the Clippers, they played some solid defense. They got defensive players. So we need to be ready. Ever so ready for Fred VanVleet, a slumping player, to play a fantastic game. And for the rest of their team to follow his lead because of the urgency and because of their frustrations. So I do think we have the opportunity to beat them. I don't think that they are particularly better than us, but they do have a bunch of tall swings that we are going to have to account for. And without the option of Mo Bamba, I do think it slims down our roster opportunities against them a little bit. They got guys like Chris Boucher. That's when you want to have the option of going to Bamba. They got guys like, I believe they still got a few other guys. My mind is going a little blank in regards to that roster at the center position. But when you look at Scotty Barnes, you look at Pascal Siakam, as I said, Boucher, they got guys. They got plenty of them. Trent, they were long, they're wingy, they're going to create problems. OG Anunoby, you know what I mean? So this is a team that we saw maybe once early in the season. God remembers how that went. I ain't did no homework on them yet, but I will be. But this is just an understanding that tomorrow's matchup is a very key one. Every game's a must win, but this is almost like a trap game within these games. You may get the confusion that this is just one of those games that you are expected to win, come out with a certain intensity that doesn't match theirs, and get your butt whooped. That's what I'm worried about. In your own gym at that. So I'm cautious about this upcoming game. This one's just a little scary to me as it pertains to being a trap game. So I'm poised to see the Lakers continue to utilize Rui Hachimura, Wenyen Gabriel, with the understanding that Bamba's going to be out. We're going to have to figure out, exactly how to preserve ourselves at that forward position. We're one Anthony Davis roll away from tumbling down the standings again, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm worried about. At least with Mo Bamba, if Anthony Davis misses games, you still like your center position because Bamba can simulate some stuff, blocking shots and stuff like that. And then you get Vando in there. You love Wenyen Gabriel when he plays well. And you still have the rotation that you expect to use. But let one of them dudes go down now without Bamba back there. And we're going to find out how thin we become immediately. How much pressure we're putting on Anthony Davis to stay healthy. This is not good, and this is exactly why I've repeatedly suggested that we call up Jay Huff. Now, he plays for the Washington Wizards, so we don't have that option anymore. And that, my friends, is an organizational faux pas. That should not have happened. And this is why. When you have Anthony Davis on your team, you got to keep your centers on your team. This is one of the biggest things about our Lakers organization that we're going to have to once again scold ourselves for, because at the end of the day, we have lollygagged with these G League players and let several of them who were really, really good leave our organization. And now we look up in the meat and potatoes of our playoff fight, and we do not have them when we need them. Scottie Pippen in the point guard position, Mac McClung in the point guard position. We could have used both of those players while D'Lo was out. Luckily, we got away with it. Now we got Bamba out. And who do we have to call on as a center? Nobody. The Lakers are looking for a free agent like Tristan Thompson or Nerlens Noel or one of these guys that we probably shouldn't even be looking for right now, given the circumstances we got going on. We should just be easily able to call up Jay Huff, slide him into the lineup, and let him play some of the Bamba minutes, which I'm pretty damn sure he would excel in. I'm certain he would. So it's like the Lakers did not take my advice in regards to that, and I'm not happy about it. We should have respected the need for length behind Anthony Davis. Vanderbilt is dealing with an ankle, and from what I understand, a knee as well. I didn't hear nothing about a knee until today, so I don't know what's going on with his health, but he's playing through pain himself. He needs probably to be rested. Leaning on him. He won't have that rest. It's not possible. So it's just like the Lakers, you hurt us bad just by not making sure that you took care of the back of the bench circumstances better all year long. We should have been grooming these players that we were not using since our record was so dang trash any damn way. We didn't need Patrick Beverley, and Russell Westbrook could have played the minutes he played without having Dennis Schroeder playing so many minutes next to him, Lonnie Walker playing in lineups he was in. All of that stuff we were doing should have been things that helped cultivate the young players that I'm referring to. Some of those minutes we were giving those dudes and weren't winning nothing. We could have had Jay out there. We could have had Christie out there. We could have had all these guys. Cole Swider obviously was dealing with the stress fracture, but he could very easily be a part of what we're doing now. You know, you Scottie Pippen and all the ways that he's been playing in the G League. He's basically been a G League all-star. We ain't use him. It's just a bunch of stuff that I look around and I say, the Lakers, if you don't win, it may have something to do with this, not Bron, AD, and all those other guys. Because Bron and AD, you should have known you were going to deal with their injury issues. That's what you're foreseeing, and when you look at this core, so everything around that has to be stable. Everything around that has to be multi-layered in size and the various things that those guys bring to the table, so that you can have depth when they're not there. It is the whole thing the Lakers need to be doing. When you have injury-prone players, you need backups for the backups and the backups, and that is why Jay Huff should not have been allowed to leave our organization. And so the Lakers going to pay for that. Now we got to try to find a center, or don't, because you know how we like to do. Sometimes we just leave ourselves without what we want and what we need. It's just like, man, come on, man. What you going to do now? Sign Tristan Thompson? Are we really better for putting Tristan Thompson on the floor? These are the type of things I'm just like, and when you bring in Tristan Thompson, he has no upside. You carry him over the next season? Hell no. You don't want him on the team next season. These are the problems. But if you would have carried over Jay Huff, played him now, do you know what his value would be coming in the next season if you develop him a little bit? You could actually trade him for something in the offseason after this little run he would have had right now helping you in the Bamba minutes. But these are the type of things organizations don't think at all. It's like, do you know that you just left value that you can turn into something real on the table just by not doing what you should have did? It's what this channel's made of, y'all. I've been screaming it for 2 or 3 years. And so, like, the Lakers have made some solid decisions with their rosters, no doubt. But there are still things to improve on in regards to organization. And one of them is keeping that Sacramento King-like depth. They got 100 players. I let everybody know it, even no one else will tell you. The Sacramento Kings got more players than everybody else. And that is why they're number 2 in the West. Because they don't let Jay Huffs walk out of their door. They send them back to wherever they send their players to. And they bring those guys up when they need them. And they shuffle them up continuously. So you never see the same bench on their team. Ever. They custom who they're going to use that night for who they're going to see. And others, they won't use. They go up against the Lakers, they put like 4 centers on their bench. They go up against the Warriors, they got like 5 guards on their bench that weren't there in place of those centers. This is how Sac does it. And I don't have a problem with it. Because every other team can do it too. You just got to load up on talent and shuffle them properly. And so that's what I'm looking at. And the teams that don't do that, they go up against the Kings and get blown out. Why? Because the Kings are healthier. They're rested. They're fresher. They keep fresh bodies on the floor at all times. And they're going to outlast everyone. Because of it. So, remember what I said. It is what it is. Got to learn to do that. The rest of the league needs to do that. You need to get a bunch of players Keep them in constant shuffle up and out of your G League and regular team. So, until teams figure that out, they're going to be getting beat because of a lack of depth. They're going to be getting swept out of the playoffs or what have you because they're going to be leaning on them stars too much. That's it. And the teams that have evolved through that thinking are going to blow those teams away and shock the world. Shock the world to hell. That's basically what it's going to be. It's exactly what I see coming. Lakers, we have depth. Unlike a lot of these teams, we have depth. We can see the Kings if we do what we're supposed to do. So, let's try to remedy that. I don't want to sign no Tristan Thompson. I already told y'all what I think of that. No Nerlens Noel. If I can't retrade you for something in the offseason, you do not need to be coming in. You do not need to be coming in right now. If I can't trade you in the offseason, you don't need to be a part of this unit. So please, let's get a guy with some upside, man. I know Moses Brown just signed with the Knicks. That would have been a nice player to pick up, try to see if we can turn him into something in our uniform. But do not bring me no geezers that I can't play but 10 minutes a game, that can't hit a damn mid-range jump shot anymore. Okay, don't bring me no geezers that are going to be cones on one side and bricklayers on the other just because we don't have a center. I don't want to see him in the game at all, so don't even put him on the team. Just going to be honest, man. We're not doing that. We have watched too many teams put guys on their roster that we know damn well can't play no more. We don't need no Serge Ibaka's. Okay? No. I'd rather you call up Paris Bass from the G League and give us a guy who can turn into something with upside. Upside. If he can't turn into nothing, turn him away. So that's what I got to say, man. I don't play about that kind of stuff because I know what we're dealing with. When you need depth, you don't need negative assets. Not even for a time. If they can't turn to something, turn them away. So that's the thought, man. I want my Lakers to strategize now, man. We have got to understand that it's not just about effort and strategy on the court. We got to have bodies, man. We need bodies. We're running into injury issues, and they don't end when you get a couple. They more so beget more injuries because now you're leaning more on other guys to stay healthy, and that means they're going to be playing for their playoff lives. Angles will roll. You don't get caught off guard by that. You work it into your thinking. And I don't want to say this guy's going to get hurt and this guy's going to get hurt and that guy's going to get hurt because you put that stuff out in the universe. But what I'm saying is you should have that in your head anyway when you're considering what you need to do to keep yourself strong. You say so-and-so is expected to get hurt in a couple weeks. He's going to be out for a week. So-and-so will probably be out for a week as well somewhere in the playoffs. You think that now. Think that now. So you start planning for that now. That way when you have it happen, if it happens, you won't be thinking like, how do I live without so-and-so and so-and-so's missing? Now you got to kind of have some of that simulated in your head, especially with guys who are expected to play too much, who've already rolled an ankle 2 weeks ago and we ain't let sit like Dennis Schroeder. You know what I mean? These are things you got to see coming. And so that's why I want the Los Angeles Lakers to kind of just do the best you can. I don't really know how to simulate that, but you do need to have guys who have that type of stuff in mind when you have a team as fragile as ours is. A bunch of these dudes, you just can't count on their health. I'm sorry. They just can't be relied upon in that way. So for me, it's like continuity is important with what we're doing. I think D'Angelo Russell is going to help us so much with his shooting ability. He's such a smart player on the offensive end. My concern is defense. Is he going to play good defense coming back from this injury? Or is he going to be a defensive liability that Dennis Schroeder was not? That kind of thing. It's just going to be a question for me. Not in the long term, but just while he's trying to work his way back into shape. I just think players should work their way back into shape off the bench. Also, I'm wondering how much this affect the Austin Reeves. I've really liked what I've seen from him playmaking. I like the usage he has. I don't want to scale back on his usage because we're bringing in another playmaker at this point. I just don't. I want him to stay on the trajectory he's on because I think he's turning into someone with a lot of confidence, and I think we're probably going to need him in the playoffs to play this way if we're going to beat some of these teams. So if we have him kind of going back down to Westbrook usage to where when Russ was on the team, he was getting this type of usage, we're not going to be a better team for that. We need Austin to be in heavy rotation, off of the bench as a main facilitator and a main source of scoring. And defense as well. We need him to be active on the defensive end, doing what he does to cut these plays off. And so it's going to be on Darvin now that we got our guard back to not mess up the guard rotation. D'Angelo Russell does not need 35 minutes when we have other guards that need to play. Okay, these are the type of things that you just want to throw out there and hope it doesn't turn into that. You leave Malik Beasley and D'Angelo Russell out there for 40 minutes just because they were your starters. With this rotation, you're going to mess with chemistry. You got to play your Lonnies. You got to play your Austins. You got to play Malik Beasley. You got to play everybody. Dennis needs his minutes, everybody. And if you don't get the most out of them or you lean on the cold hands, it's going to cost us games. So we've seen Darvin make those type of mistakes. I still think that he's the weakest link, and these are the type of things that make me concerned. That he's just going to overplay somebody or underplay somebody else, and the other person he doesn't play is the guy we're going to need. So against a Fred VanVleet, a fired up, unhappy Fred VanVleet, who's fast, who plays defense as well and can be disruptive and force steals against D'Angelo Russell, who's fresh off injury. I don't think he needs to be going up against a angry Fred VanVleet fresh off injury. I really don't. That should be Dennis Schroeder going up against him, start the game with the comfort level and the rhythm of being playing the whole time with no risk of well, that's not true. He can re-injure his injury. So I actually do want him to rest, but not as it pertains against this matchup against that dude when he's been cussing at refs and all that. I just expect Fred VanVleet to have a heavy impact on his team, and he steals the ball. D'Angelo Russell's going to have to be on his P's and Q's, and he's fresh off injury. So Darvin he's gambling. He's gambling, man. And I'm not saying that D'Angelo's going to hurt us necessarily, but I just think the environment for which he's going to be attacked in ways he don't need to be hounded in the game is going to be in place. All them wings like Gary Trent, they're going to hound him, bro. They know he's fresh off injury. They're going to hound him. So I just think that that's a thing, you know. I don't want to turn this into a game video in regards to the Raptors, but it's on my mind. I just know how good defensively they are. I know how disruptive they're going to be, and I know we're shuffling around our playmaking, ball handling, rotation. Cautionary, extremely cautionary. So all of these things, I hope somebody sends Darvin this video, because I don't want to be caught off guard by this game, dude. I don't want the Lakers to get caught off by this particular matchup. It's one of the ones we have circled that we should win. We still have some matchups that we may not win. Some games that are real tough against Western Conference teams, and we need to take care of the ones against these little Eastern Conference teams that we have left. It's a couple of them that we have left. We got the Knicks, we got these guys, we got Orlando, we got Chicago twice. We need to win all 5 of those. None of those teams are better than us. None of those teams should be able to see us if we match up properly. You may not beat the Timberwolves. You may not beat the Jazz. You may not beat, some of these teams, Phoenix, you may not win those games. This game, we have to win, just like every other game. So as the Lakers turn, we want to not show too much pessimism, but with certain mistakes that we've seen repeatedly made, we know they lead to the games not being successful. We want to make sure that we get out in the fast break like we did in the last game, 20 points in the fast break. Got to try to keep on moving forward, getting multiple looks at easy buckets. These are things that are important to me. Shooting the 3 the way that we did. Keep it in a space that makes sense. If we're hitting it at a high clip, let it fly. If we're not, cap it off. They continue to attack in the paint. A team like Toronto does have Jakob Poeltl and Siakam. Those guys are going to play defense. They're going to try to keep us out of there. But as long as Anthony Davis is playing the way that he's playing, they're not going to be able to. But we do have to understand that Pascal Siakam is capable of matching Anthony Davis bucket for bucket. If Anthony Davis goes off for 40, you do understand Pascal can go off for 40. So these are things that we cannot poo-poo. We got to be ready. We have our thinking caps on. We got to have our rotations right. And we got to have guys being able to perform out there tomorrow. So with the depth that we have, I think my concern is overstated just basically because it's on my mind. But I do think at the end of the day, Toronto is in trouble if we do what we're supposed to do. They should not beat us. But it's just about the cautionary tale of if we're not ready, they may. That's all I'm saying. So that's my thought, man. Salute to Kobe Bennett, of course. We appreciate all of his contributions, and we want to let everybody know every day. And we're on a mission to continue to push forward as an organization. We want our 18th championship. We believe that we have a puncher's chance at it at this point, a good puncher's chance, I think. And Bamba's injury hurts, but the fact that he could be back for the playoffs is encouraging. I understand that Kevin Durant's injury isn't as bad as we thought, so we got to pencil Phoenix back in to possibly have him near the end of the season. They said they will evaluate him in 2 weeks. So we got different information now, and that shuffles what we think the Phoenix Suns and the Western Conference can be. Because if they're available, if KD's available for the matchups we have, you might as well be there the whole time as far as we're concerned. You understand what I'm saying? If he's back in 3 weeks, he'll be back for the Phoenix game we play. He'll be targeting the Lakers just like every damn body else. So be ready for that. Still got a game with Dallas. I understand Luka's injury has not been evaluated as of yet, or was it? No, I got the information that his was not. He did not have bad results on his MRI. So it's about managing pain, and he will be back when he's ready, which means that he might be targeting the Lakers when we play them again. That's what that tells me. So we just need to be on guard. Everybody wants to target the Lakers, and it makes all the sense in the world based on these timelines that we see those teams right around the time those guys may want to come back. So just stay on guard, man. We got a big game against the Timberwolves. I want my revenge against them. I didn't like how we lost that last game. I don't think we needed to lose that last game. I thought we were two good power forward rotations away from beating that team just like we could beat most. And I just hate that we left that one on the table. I want them beat. I want the Timberwolves beat. So I got that game circled personally. I don't like losing to them, especially when we just traded for most of their better players. We need them beat for a multitude of reasons. So these are certain things I hope the Lakers are looking at. You know, we got games that we need to have extra oomph about. Some of these teams we really are going up against in the playoff seeding. Some of these teams we really did lose to in some unnatural ways. Some of these teams were better than us at the start of the season and definitely are not now. We need to go back and get our pound of flesh out of each and every one of them and have that competitive energy not only fuel us to these wins as well as the nature of our standings. You know, let's get mean, because if we do that and we continue to keep our foot on these teams' necks, we will by default win the games we're in. You know, so don't forget to fight against them when we're fighting against all these circumstances. Essentially what I'm saying. Fred VanVleet and those guys, they're going to be mad. So let's find a reason to get mad too. And let's bring them the fight they're going to bring to you. So that's what I got to say, man. Excited about Laker basketball. Unfortunate about Bamba's injury, but very encouraged that D'Lo's coming back. Just want to see him used properly. BDL 44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.